What's good, my people? This is Last Messiah. On this good Sunday morning, I know y'all Christians don't like to see my face. But before y'all go down there and run down there and throw y'all money in them little collection plates, I need y'all to check out this video right quick. Now, I asked all my loyal followers on my page earlier this week, what was the purpose and origin of Hanukkah? And the reason I asked because American society has always promoted Hanukkah in accordance with Christianity or Christmas. So when Christmas comes around, you have the Jewish holidays like Hanukkah, and they try to make that symmetrical, like it's the same thing, but really it's just the Jewish ways of following Christmas, because some type of way Jews feel Christianity is idolatry or they don't accept Jesus. But I'm gonna give y'all the origin of why this Hanukkah thing is important. But before I get deep into the video, I'm going to give y'all a little details and familiars about Hanukkah and the traditions surrounding the menorahs and the candles and why they celebrate with the menorah. Now, inside the Jewish temple, a regular menorah only has 7 candles. That's for the 7 days of the 7 days of creation and the completion of knowledge or whatnot. Now, like in this previous picture, the 8-candle menorah, which actually has 9 candles, including the one in the middle, is for the 8 days of the Maccabean revolt, right? The 9th candle is for the Gentiles, as the Jewish people being a light to the world, or the other Gentiles or whatnot. Okay, my people, so these are the events that inspired the Hanukkah holiday, and they took place during a particularly turbulent phase of Jewish history. Around 200 BC in Judea, also known as the land of Israel, they came under the control of Antiochus III, the Seleucid king of Syria, who allowed the Jews to live there to continue practicing their religion. His son, though, Antiochus Epiphanes IV, proved less benevolent. Ancient sources recount that he outlawed the Jewish religion and ordered the Jews to worship Greek gods. In 168 BC, his soldiers descended upon Jerusalem, massacring thousands of people and desecrating the city's holy second temple by erecting an altar to Zeus and sacrificing pigs within its walls. Led by the Jewish priest Matthias, or Matthew as they would have in Greek, and his 5 sons, a large-scale rebellion broke out against Antiochus and the Seleucid monarchy. When Matthias died in 166 BC, his son Judas, sometimes called Judas Maccabee, the Hammer, took the helm, and within 2 years the Jews had successfully driven the Syrians out of Jerusalem, relying largely on guerrilla warfare tactics. Judah called on his followers to cleanse the second temple, rebuild its altar, and light a menorah, the golden candelabrum, whose 7 branches represented knowledge and creation, were meant to be kept burning every night. Now, according to Jewish legend found in the Talmud, after the war, there was only enough untainted olive oil to keep the menorah candles burning for a single day. The flames continued flickering for 8 nights, leaving them time to find a fresh supply. The wondrous event inspired the Jewish sages to proclaim a yearly 8-day festival. So this is the origin of where the Hanukkah holiday derives. And just like Americans in America, Jews in Israel and other places of the world mainly only celebrate holidays that come from revolts or their people having an uprising. Because if you clearly read the scriptures, the entire book is about them being in oppression and coming out of that oppression. And this is why it's always easy for pseudo scholars and people that teach from a feel-good perspective or basis and don't rely on facts. They can always spin the relation or the empathy and the conjunction that our history has with the Jewish people and convince people that we are the same people. No, we're not the same people. But all people in poverty or who are accustomed to the ancient way of slavery and oppression all share similar histories, because the same things were being implemented on us that was being implemented on them, because the origins of how to treat slaves and how to perform chattel and servitude comes from the Bible. But this is a fact that everybody should know and must know. The Catholic Church, or the Catholic Bible, has more books in it than the King James Version that you have. A lot of people know this already. But these books are called the apocryphal books because they didn't make canon, and they were removed by the Protestant church in the 1800s. And why did they do that? I'm finna explain it to you right now. Listen. All right, family. So in the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, in the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verses 20 through 24, it talks about how Alexander the Great came and conquered the known world. This is basically how the Seleucid dynasty and all of this came into play. And it's talking about all of the kingdoms that came along after Greece took over and oppressed the people, right? So mainly it's going into the Seleucid period around the revolt of Antiochus, right? So here we see in verse 21 that it says Grecia. So you know it's talking about the invasion of Greece. Okay, people, I'm going to go to the Hebrew text here because I don't want to deal with this Christian spin. I want y'all to get the context of what these verses are actually saying. Now, the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 24 through 25, talks about how the 70 weeks of years. So we know when they're talking about weeks, it's always years. So this figurative vision that he's having is talking about the Hellenization and how the Seleucid dynasty caused the revolt with the Maccabees. And remember I told you Matthias died. And after 62 weeks, the anointed one would be cut off and he would be no more. And the people of the coming monarch who would destroy the city and the sanctuary, and his end will come about by indignation. And until the end of the war, it will be cut off in the desolation. Now, reading this text, the anointed person or the person spoken of by Daniel has to die in a war. Because the word anointed that they would change to Messiah in the King James is not talking about Jesus. It's talking about Matthias. And when he died and get cut off in that war, that's when the Seleucid dynasty come and sacrifice the pig on the altar. But look what the Christians come and do, man. They just come make up this little pretty timeline where they done took all of Daniel 9 in the Codex Vernacular. They done took it all out of context because the Jewish Messiah expectation. Bruh, stop playing. Jesus wasn't in no war and he didn't get killed about no war. But see, that Christian Bible take you straight out of Babylonian captivity right into Roman captivity. It skipped the whole part of the book where Israel was out of Babylonian captivity and was flourishing as a dynasty. You get what I'm saying? So they skipped the whole portion of Jewish history out of the book to allude you to some mythical Christian shit, bro. I mean, bro, I really don't be giving y'all no bullshit information, bro. Look at this, bro. The traumatic time period helped define the genre of the apocalypse and heightened Jewish apocalypticism. The portrayal of an evil tyrant like Antiochus IV attacking the holy city of Jerusalem in the book of Daniel became the common theme during later Roman rule of Judea and would contribute to Christian concepts of the Antichrist. So for anybody who didn't understand that, what they just told you is that the writings in Christianity, what Jesus was giving about the apocalypse and the end times, they basically went back in Daniel and stole that shit and put it in the mouth of Jesus when it didn't even apply to the time frame or the era when Jesus was alive. And I mean, the Messiah that was talked about in the Old Testament came right after the Persian captivity. Soon as they got out, the Messiah was the person that rebuilt Jerusalem. You feel what I'm saying? Or allowed that to happen. So let's look at who the Bible told us the Messiah was that they skipped over to give you Jesus. Now, if we scroll up a little further, and you shall take silver and gold, and you shall make crowns and place them upon the head of Joshua, Yeshua, that they gonna turn that into. I'm telling you, they did all this stealing that they doing. Yeshua, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest. Now, this is the Messiah, the king. So said the Lord to his anointed one, to Cyrus, whose right hand I held to flatten nations before him, and the loins of kings I will loosen, and open portals before him, and the gates shall not be closed. And if you flip back one chapter, the 44, and read verse 28, who says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and all my desire he shall fulfill. And to say of Jerusalem, it shall be built, and the temple shall be founded. Now this is the Lord Yahweh talking, saying Cyrus is his shepherd. So Jesus becomes the shepherd in the New Testament? For the sake of my servant Jacob and Israel, my chosen, and I call to you by name. So listen, y'all, don't let people make you think that Judaism and Christianity is the same religion, and don't let them let you think that Hanukkah and Christmas is the same thing. They don't have the same origins or concepts, and they don't derive from the same principles. But as y'all know, man, I'm going to give y'all that real history and keep it rocking, man. Last Messiah, man. Y'all fuck with me.